20 most hated stars in Hollywood history. The silver screen legend once convinced you that Hollywood was spun from pure fairy tale dust, only to be unmasked later as a monster in black tie, a name you first saw flicker on your black and white set, while Pathé newsreels crackled at the local drive-in. Tonight's countdown digs into 20 beloved icons history learned to despise. Watch how a comedy sweetheart dodged a single subpoena that could have erased her show, how a rock pioneer married his just 13-year-old cousin, then faced an even darker mystery, and why 150K signatures may scrub a cowboy hero's name off a US airport. We start at number 20 and climb to the worst of the worst, armed with fresh FBI memos, leaked letters, and cold case twists. Stay tuned. Your vintage movie posters may never look the same. Number 20, Clara Bow, the it girl the studio tried to erase. During the Roaring '20s, Clara Bow embodied freedom, bobbed hair, wicked grin, and more charisma than a speakeasy at midnight. But the glossy fan mag stories missed the real plot twist. Newly unsealed probate ledgers reveal that Clara's own father, who doubled as her business manager, quietly siphoned nearly $529,029 from her accounts while she filmed the wild party. Investigators tracked the withdrawals to secret horse racing bets and high-stakes poker games in downtown LA. Worse, the studio knew. Internal memos show executives told Clara to focus on the work, while they froze her access to cash, so productions wouldn't shut down. Bow's spiraling finances triggered panic attacks that tabloid bloodhounds mislabeled as hysteria, and the gossip vines sprouted lurid tales of wild orgies and barnyard parties, few of which held up in court. Years later, a neurologist diagnosed her with untreated PTSD, but Hollywood had already moved on to squeaky clean ingenues. For modern fans, Bow's downfall exposes how early PR machines weaponized misogyny. Tarnish the woman, protect the brand. Think the silent era was tame? Wait until our number 19 proves otherwise. Number 19, Lucille Ball, America's Laugh Factory, nearly went blacklist dark. I Love Lucy. Reruns feel like comfort food, unless you chew on the FBI surveillance notes, released in 2021. Back in 1951, Lucille Ball's accidental brush with communism almost vaporized her sitcom before the chocolate conveyor gag ever rolled camera. The backstory: in 1936, Lucy registered to vote as a communist because her socialist grandpa insisted. She never attended a single-cell meeting. Fast forward to McCarthy-era paranoia. An ambitious rival actor fed that voter card to the House Un-American Activities Committee. The studio scrambled. DC Arnaz staged a live audience warm-up where he joked, "The only thing read about Lucy is her hair." Behind the punchline, internal CBS memos prepped contingency plans to recast I Love Lucy with a blonde safe from accusations. Newly declassified field reports show that if Lucy had made one more pro-union speech, HUAC intended to subpoena her on live television. Imagine modern comedy without Vitameyata Vegamin. That's how close we came. It's a reminder that careers can dangle on a grandfather's whim and a single checked box. But if FBI files sound frightening, our next star turned every film set into a full-contact sport. Number 18, Wallace Beer, the bully in the velvet smoking jacket. Wally Beer wasn't merely gruff. He was Hollywood's original blunt force trauma. Crew lists nicknamed him Wallop Beer because day players feared surprise slaps the way modern interns dread reply all. Gloria Swanson's never-published 1923 diary entries describe Beery's wedding night assault that left her bruised and bleeding. Studio fixers silenced the incident with a hush-money envelope and a promise of bigger roles. More chilling are affidavits from child actors. 6-year-old Margaret O'Brien recalled Beery yanking her braids so violently on the two girls, and a sailor set she needed stitches behind the ear. MGM skated past potential lawsuits by threatening parents with contract terminations if they spoke. Even fellow stars gritted their teeth. Spencer Tracy tried to punch Beery after a lunchroom altercation, but was restrained by crew. industry veterans still swap beery rules in acting workshops. Never turn your back, never share a close-up, and always expect a live hit instead of a stage slap. Despite whispers, Beery kept winning box office polls. They dubbed him the people's piggy bank, proof that audiences often reward menace they never witness. Feeling unsettled? We're only 3 rungs down the ladder. Time to meet a perfectionist whose volcanic meltdowns can still clear a studio lot. Number 17. Fay Dunaway. Perfection or pandemonium. Fay Dunaway's cheekbones could cut glass, and so could her temper. On Bonnie and Clyde, she fought Warren Beatty and director Arthur Penn over every lighting cue, but friends chalked it up to commitment. Decades later, the pattern looked less like artistry and more like artillery. During 2019 rehearsals for the one-woman Broadway play Tea at 5, Dunaway allegedly tossed a salad at a dresser for handing her the wrong wig clip. Stage managers claim she banned anyone wearing white in her sightline, fearing it drained auric energy. Producers fired her mid-run. Backstage videos leaked, showing the crew cheering once her town car door slammed shut. Earlier, anecdotes echo the same storm. On Chinatown, Roman Palansky reportedly placed tangerine wedges on set just to antagonize Fay's famed no citrus rule, provoking screaming matches that slowed production by days. Yet, critics admit her performances can hypnotize precisely because she digs that deep, an uncomfortable reminder that brilliance and brutality sometimes share a dressing room. Think diva tantrums are awful? Our next rebel believed laws of studio, state, or physics never applied to him. Number 16, James Dean, rebel without a pause button. James Dean's cinematic legend fits in 3 films, but his off-screen chaos could fill a miniseries. Warner Brothers' legal memos, drafted weeks before his 1955 crash, reveal an unprecedented $1 million reckless driving surcharge in his new contract. A fortune back then. Dean bragged about topping 90 miles per hour between takes, sometimes with co-stars in the passenger seat, white-knuckling rosary beads. Director George Stevens ordered a crew member to literally hide Dean's motorcycle keys during giant night shoots to keep insurance viable. Insiders also remember his volatile prank streak. Once he loaded blank rounds into a prop gun and fired at a shocked grip just to capture authentic fear. Cafe friends admired his unfiltered vulnerability. Wardrobe assistants called him emotional shrapnel. It wasn't just speed that killed. Psychologists argue Dean's hair-trigger mood swings showed classic signs of untreated bipolar disorder. Tragically, the same devil-may-care magnetism that minted his legend made safety nets impossible. Speaking of unsafe, buckle up for a child star turned playboy whose marital record reads like a demolition derby. Number 15, Mickey Rooney, from wholesome Andy Hardy to tabloid tornado. For middle America in the 1940s, Mickey Rooney was the cherubic boy next door, but behind closed doors, he lived like a Las Vegas headliner on open bar. 8 marriages, countless affairs, and a mountain of gambling IOUs tell only half the saga. Court documents from wife number 5, Carolyn Hockett, describe bruises covered with pancake makeup before premiere nights. Rooney's own son filed a 2011 elder abuse lawsuit, alleging that a step-grandson bled Mickey's accounts dry. Claims settled quietly, but followed by a suspicious transfer of property titles. Rooney's financial roller coaster forced him to keep touring into his 80s, sometimes collapsing backstage from exhaustion. Meanwhile, Vegas dealers recall Rooney pawning his Oscar statuette overnight to cover blackjack losses. He retrieved it only after a late-night rescue call to friend Carol Channing. In public, he joked about his Irish temper, but diary pages published posthumously depict deep shame and panic attacks. If serial heartbreaks and empty bank vaults feel tragic, wait until you hear how the next crooner's bedtime lullabies doubled as trauma soundtracks for his kids. Number 14, Bing Crosby. White Christmas, Black and Blue Childhood. The silky baritone that sold 50 million copies of White Christmas masked a house of horrors. In Gary Crosby's memoir, Going My Own Way, He recounts kneeling on bottle caps while Bing beat him with a studded belt for leaving toothpaste in the sink. Critics dismissed the book as daddy-issue sensationalism until historians unearthed 1960s audio where Bing confesses to radio host Red Barber, "Maybe I was too hard. Better a busted rear than a busted life." Two sons, Lindsay and Dennis, later died by their own hands. Family therapists now cite the Crosby home as a textbook study in intergenerational trauma, public perfectionism paired with private tyranny. Modern fans wrestle with a paradox. Can "I'll Be Home for Christmas" share shelf space with childhood bruises? Streaming platforms list trigger warnings. Others argue the art transcends the artist. Regardless, Crosby's legacy reminds us that microphone warmth doesn't equal hearth warmth. Next up, a chain-smoking legend whose flying glassware made studio insurers tremble. Number 13, Humphrey Bogart, barfly icon who couldn't hold his liquor or his tongue. Bogart's tough guy charm felt authentic because he chain-smoked unfiltered Chesterfields, cursed with naval precision, and treated bars as alternate offices. The Formosa Cafe's newly digitized 1951 incident ledger lists a mirror, 2 bar stools, and a jukebox trashed the night Bogey and Sinatra squared off over a poker dispute. Bogart settled the damages by autographing replacement furniture, a publicity stunt the owner gladly accepted. Yet collegial loyalty had limits. On The African Queen, he taunted director John Huston, until Huston threatened to film the rest with a stand-in. Bacall often played diplomat, coaxing Bogey off bar floors and onto film sets at dawn. Off-screen drinking fed health issues. Esophageal cancer claimed him at 57. Fans cling to his gritty realism, but colleagues recall tense mornings smelling of bourbon and burnt coffee. But the man who follows turned domestic disputes into scenes Hollywood still whispers about. Number 12, Steve McQueen, the cooler king with a warm gun. Steve McQueen's allure fused danger and vulnerability, yet behind smoldering blue eyes flickered paranoia. His biographer records McQueen sleeping with a shotgun under his Malibu pillow after Charles Manson targeted celebrities. Cocaine escalated the jitters. Actor Don Gordon recalls McQueen insisting friends snort before poker so nobody has an edge. The darkest testimony comes from first wife Nayla Adams. In a 1986 interview, she revealed McQueen once pressed a .38 special against her head, demanding she admit to an imaginary affair, then sobbed an apology minutes later. Production insurers dreaded his name. He'd vanish on cross-country bike rides mid-shoot, forcing crews to improvise with stand-ins. Yet studios forgave him because international audiences saw rebellion, not recklessness. Even today, motorcycle ads borrow his silhouette. But charisma can't whitewash terror, and survivors of McQueen's inner circle urge fans to idolize with caution. Ready for another motherlode of hidden rage? Grab your wire hangers. Joan's on deck. Number 11, Joan Crawford, Mommy Dearest or Industry Martyr. When Christina Crawford's Mommy Dearest hit shelves in 1978, critics split. Sensational hit job or brave expose? Newly surfaced psychiatric case notes tipped the scale toward truth. Recorded during Joan's 1959 breakdown, they document ice bath punishments and belt lashings for poor posture. Friends defended Joan as a perfectionist, forged by Depression-era hardship. But behind-the-scenes memos reveal studio executives exploiting her paranoia, threatening to replace her with younger starlets if she gained a single pound. Exhaustion, insomnia, and prescription pill dependence widened mood swings. Still, Crawford fought for equal pay and nurtured junior actresses off-set, contradictions that complicate the narrative. Whether monster or martyr, she stands as a cautionary prism, the same intensity that shattered her family, smashed glass ceilings for women in film. Yet even Joan never used basketballs as projectiles. That honor belongs to our next heavyweight rebel. Number 10, Robert Mitchum, high, handsome, and hazardous. Robert Mitchum cultivated a louche shrug that made noir dialogue hum, but off-screen laziness hid a mean streak. After his famous 1948 marijuana bust, mugshot smirk and all, fan mail spiked. Believing himself untouchable, Mitchum's pranks grew violent. At the 1978 premiere party for the Big Sleep remake, he hurled a regulation basketball at freelance photographer Teresa King. Witnesses say the ball struck her face so hard, 2 teeth dislodged. King sued, citing Mitchum's habitual hostility toward women. The settlement remained sealed, but whispers estimate it equaled his entire salary. Co-star Jane Greer labeled him the most naturally gifted and naturally careless actor alive. Directors learned to film his close-ups early in the day before bourbon dulled focus. Today, Mitchum memes celebrate his nonchalance. Fewer share the insurance audits tallying damaged equipment and hush payments. Speaking of hush money, our next violet-eyed legend used diamonds and Vatican condemnations as love letters. Number 9, Elizabeth Taylor. Love me tender, even if you're married. Liz Taylor's violet eyes eclipsed everything, especially vows. Her affair with Eddie Fisher detonated America's sweetheart, Debbie Reynolds. Newspapers called Taylor a homewrecker in mink. Vatican editors escalated, dubbing her romance with Richard Burton erotic vagrancy. Taylor counter-programmed by auctioning her first 33-carat diamond for charity, spinning scandal into philanthropy. Recently uncovered letters show Taylor bragging, "I win hearts over lunch. Husbands just take a little longer." Burton and Taylor's volcanic chemistry fueled 2 marriages and a jewelry arms race that climaxed with the 69-carat Taylor-Burton diamond. Gossip overshadowed humanitarian feats. She co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research long before Hollywood embraced the cause. Admirers view her as a liberated trailblazer. Detractors still flinch at her marital wreckage. Whichever lens you choose, her life proves that public adoration can coexist with moral outrage. Ready to swap diamonds for derision? Let's hear a joke that isn't funny at all. Number 8, Jerry Lewis. Laughter, tears, and loathing. Jerry Lewis revolutionized slapstick and raised over $2 billion for muscular dystrophy. Yet many insiders pray the cameras never land on his raw footage. Disabled rights advocates criticized his annual telethons for portraying kids as pitiable props. Lewis doubled down, calling critics self-righteous cripples. A 2014 leaked email cackles about wheelchairs as prop comedy with wheels. On film sets, he screamed if coffee arrived without 2 sugars, berated female comics as fat hens, and installed closed-circuit monitors so he could lecture the crew from a throne-like director's chair. His family life echoed the chaos. 5 sons publicly estranged, daughter Danielle excluded from his will, citing lack of kinship. Even Lewis's charity legacy split opinions. Some argue he dared to confront a disease others ignored. Survivors of his insults call the fundraising an ego flex. Next up, a cowboy legend whose off-screen interview still sparks airport name change petitions. Number 7, John Wayne, Hollywood's cowboy or culture war cautionary tale. "Courage is being scared to death but saddling up anyway," Wayne once said. Apparently, courage didn't extend to progressive thought. In his notorious 1971 Playboy interview, he dismissed indigenous land claims and voiced an openly racist stance that still reverberates today. Biographers claim he regretted the phrasing yet never issued a formal apology. Fast forward, a 2024 petition to strip his name from Orange County's airport surpassed 150,000 signatures, sparking town hall shouting matches. Defenders point to Wayne's quiet philanthropy. Critics note he fought to blacklist activist Jane Fonda. His film portrayals of Native Americans often reduce tribes to faceless hordes. Imagery now dissected in media studies courses. Family estates insist he evolved, but digitized letters reveal Wayne railing against the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Legacy tug-of-war aside, he remains box office royalty, a reminder that cinematic heroism and real-world harm can ride the same horse. Words can wound. Our next segment shows how scripted intimacy morphed into real-life trauma. Number 6, Marlon Brando, butter, betrayal, and a co-star's breakdown. Marlon Brando's commitment to truth in acting burned through norms and people. During Last Tango in Paris, 19-year-old Maria Schneider expected a simulated assault. Instead, director Bernardo Bertolucci and Brando conspired to surprise her with a butter scene. Schneider later said she felt violated and humiliated, a trauma she carried until her death. Recently surfaced behind-the-scenes audio captures Brando joking, "Fear looks better on camera." Outside the frame, Brando fathered at least 11 children across multiple continents, dodging support payments until courts intervened. Daughter Cheyenne's suicide and son Christian's homicide conviction deepened public unease about Brando's paternal footprint. Environmental activism earned him praise, but tribal representatives say he ghosted commitments after Oscar night headlines faded. Students of cinema hail him as a method god. Survivors of his orbit recall loneliness, manipulation, and unpaid therapy bills. Buckle that seatbelt. Our next swashbuckler snorted coke off IOUs written in his own blood. Number 5. Errol Flynn, Devil May Care, or maybe just Devil. Errol Flynn sword-fought on screen and in bedrooms across continents. His 1942 statutory assault trial ended in acquittal, yet biographies revealed jurors received studio gifts and free hotel stays. Flynn fed the devilish myth, co-authoring My Wicked, Wicked Ways, detailing conquests and benders. In 2022, a yacht auction house sold IOUs, reportedly penned in Flynn's blood, after a marathon coke binge. Collateral included a Komodo dragon skin jacket, allegedly stolen from a zoo. Flynn's hedonism left him bankrupt twice, forced to rent out his yacht to drug smugglers, and dead at 50 from heart failure compounded by cirrhosis. Admirers love the rogue glamour. Historians shake their heads at the wreckage. But if teenage brides and sailboat smuggling sound insane, brace for a rocker nicknamed The Killer, who might have lived up to it. Number 4. Jerry Lee Lewis, The Killer and the Question Mark. Jerry Lee Lewis didn't just bend rules, he hammered them like piano keys. Marrying 13-year-old cousin Myra cost him radio airplay and nearly his career, but scandal barely slowed him down. He accidentally shot bassist J.W. Brown in 1976 and joked he shouldn't have moved. Wife number 5, Shawn Stevens, died in 1983 after a fall in their home. No charges were filed, though neighbors heard screams. TikTok crime sleuths revived the cold case in 2024, amassing 10 million views and pushing local DAs to re-examine files, only to learn crucial evidence had vanished. Lewis responded by flipping off reporters and belting Great Balls of Fire at Encore. For fans, his piano pound defines rock rebellion. For critics, the soundtrack hides the bang of unexplained gunshots. History class is about to rewind further, into the silent film courtroom that birthed Hollywood's first true pariah. Number 3, Rosco Fatty Arbuckle, Comedy King, Courtroom Pariah. At the dawn of 1920s celebrity culture, Rosco Arbuckle earned $1 million a year, then lost it all in one Labor Day weekend. Actress Virginia Rapp collapsed screaming in Arbuckle's hotel suite. Tabloids claimed an assault that proved fatal, with a champagne bottle, a ruptured bladder, and murder. 3 trials followed, 2 hung juries, and a final acquittal, accompanied by a rare jury apology. Paramount still blacklisted him, and churches boycotted theaters. In 2024, UCLA forensic students reanalyzed autopsy slides. Modern imaging showed no bottle trauma, but flagged pre-existing cystitis, muddying both guilt and innocence. Arbuckle directed under pseudonyms until heart failure claimed him at 46. His downfall birthed Hollywood's morality clauses and the censorious Hays Code, meaning every scandal you've heard tonight traces DNA back to Fatty's trial. But even the Hays Code couldn't catch our fugitive filmmaker. Number 2, Roman Palansky, genius on camera, fugitive in life. Roman Polanski's Oscar for The Pianist triggered a standing ovation and a standing warrant after pleading guilty to unlawful sex with 13-year-old Samantha Gailey in 1977. Polansky fled the U.S. the night before sentencing. For decades, he navigated a map of extradition-safe states. Step outside, cuffs click. In 2025, the European Parliament passed a cooperation memo pressuring Switzerland and Poland to ditch neutrality, reigniting fears of arrest. Additional women surfaced with echoing accusations spanning the 1970s to 99. Palansky denies them, but studios quietly shelved projects. Streaming services debate bans, Art V's artist essays multiply. His supporters cite childhood Holocaust trauma. Detractors argue trauma never grants predator passes. Still, each film festival invitation sparks protests, proving that cultural capital doesn't always convert to moral credit. And yet, Palansky's movie seats aren't the only ones vanished overnight. Hollywood erased our number one almost in real time. Number one, Kevin Spacy. Charm turned chilling. When Kevin Spacy sprinted into House of Cards as the slick Francis Underwood, he seemed untouchable. Oscars, Tonys, and a legendary Bobby Darin impression. Then the dominoes toppled. Actor Anthony Rapp's 2017 allegation triggered a flood. Crew members, fitness trainers, and even Royal Palace staff claimed harassment stretching back decades. 4 criminal cases collapsed for jurisdictional gaps or evidentiary holes, but civil suits multiplied like pop-up ads. July 2025 brought the most damning leak. Hotel suite audio played in a London courtroom where jurors heard Spacy coerce a young actor into silence. Netflix spent $40 million erasing him from final seasons. Ridley Scott reshot an entire film with Christopher Plummer in 6 weeks. Today, Spacy lurks on fringe podcasts, claiming cancel culture martyrdom, while lawyers juggle new filings. For Hollywood, he is a living effigy, proof that unchecked power metastasizes into menace, and that modern audiences carry receipts. Pull back enough red curtains, and you'll see stains no dry cleaner can lift. Tonight's tour through 20 infamous lives shows that fame amplifies every impulse. Generosity becomes philanthropy, lust becomes predation, discipline becomes tyranny. Yet scandals also spotlight the machinery that polishes tarnish into Oscar gold. Crisis PR teams, hush contracts, and fans eager to forgive if the next performance dazzles. So, which revelation rattled you most? The butter scene that should have come with a consent form? The airport still flaunting a cowboy who praised racist views? Or the leaked audio turning a 2-time Oscar winner into a pariah overnight? Drop your vote in the comments and tell us who slipped past our radar. Smash that subscribe button if you crave more Hollywood archaeology. Next week, we'll unearth studio cover-ups so deep the PR squads still pay monthly retainers to keep them buried. Stay curious, keep questioning, and remember, when you shine a spotlight, you don't just see brighter, you see clearer. The reel keeps spinning, and the shadows only grow sharper.